In this session, you will learn how to leverage free brand analytics data to improve your PPC performance. And for this, we'll have two great experts, PPC experts, Amazon advertising specialists, Brent Zahratnik from AMZ Pathfinder company, and also Ritu Java from PPC Ninja company. And before we move on to the content, I will want to introduce two great companies which are sponsoring this session. It's Getida, which is the global leader in Amazon FBA reimbursements and auditing solutions. And if you're selling on Amazon, Amazon owes you money, so check them out. They can do a free audit and show you where Amazon is probably hiding your money. And you'll find the link below in the description. The same with VAA Philippines. They're a great company in the industry. They help with virtual assistant services for e-commerce sellers, be it on Amazon, Walmart. If you need part-time, full-time specialists in different parts of your business, they can cover you for sure. PPC, social media, whatever you want. You'll find the link below in the description. And this session is part of the Seller Fest online virtual summit, which we're doing to honor 20 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed, please do it. No, it's not 20 million. It's just 20,000. So yeah, 20,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, do it right now. And I see Brent is laughing. So hello, guys. Let's bring the guests here to us. Hi, nice to see you, Brent and Rita.
Hello.
Hello. So we will have your presentations very soon, but before that, let's introduce shortly each other. And Ritu, a few words about yourself.
Yeah, super happy to be here. And it's always fun to hang out with you, Augustus. And Brent and I are probably doing this for the first time in this format, but I really respect him, and we've been in this space for a while. Quick introduction: I started my journey on Etsy in 2010. I'm an engineer with a focus on data science. I run PPC Ninja, which is an ad tech enabled advertising agency. And we help 7, 8, and 9 figure sellers make money on Amazon. I've also been a speaker at many events, including Amazon's Accelerate, and then Prosper Show, BDSS, $1 Billion Seller Summit, also won a few awards there. I'm committed to sharing my knowledge with the community, and I've recently started an AI for e-commerce newsletter, which you guys are all welcome to sign up for. It comes out weekly on Tuesdays. So with that, back to you, Augustus.
Thank you. And Brent, what about you?
Yeah, sure. First of all, Augustus, let me say, I wish the audience could have seen my face when you said we have 20 million YouTube subscribers. I was like, holy smokes, Augustus has made it big time. This is incredible. And then you changed and I was like, oh no. But you had me laughing for sure. And that's the classic Augustus humor that I've come to know and love over the years. Yeah, I'm the founder of AMZ Pathfinder. We're an Amazon ads and some other ancillary services agency. Been doing that since 2015. I live in France. I'm from the United States, spoken at a lot of events, mostly in Europe over the years, including many of those with Orange Click, and always happy to join this audience. Find it's a really positive group of people. And in general, yeah, the Amazon space is quite cool. In fact, Ritu, I don't know if you remember, but we met years ago on the monorail in Vegas at the Prosper Show. Yeah, that was the first time we actually met in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we were on the train and I see this person. I was like, this looks like Brent. And I had the courage to go up to him and said, are you Brent? And he's like, yeah, are you Ritu? And so it was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Exactly. It was well done. Yeah. It was well done. I recognized you pretty quickly. Yeah. So
did you think he is Brent because he had a label which says Brent?
No, he's very famous. He's famous on Amazon.
Yeah. So I don't know about that. Man, maybe a D-list celebrity. But if you see my face a couple times on LinkedIn or something, maybe that was what did it. Yeah. But hey, the density of Amazon people is quite high in Vegas at that time of year, so your chances were good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to the content. Let's talk about brand analytics. And Brent, while you're preparing your screen to share on the stage, I wanted to mention everyone that at any time of this session, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to click like and subscribe, of course. Let me show. No, not link. Like, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, I think Brent is ready with his presentation, and let's go.
Okay, cool. Can you guys all see this? Is this coming through fine there?
Yes, we
Full
can
screen?
see everything is green. Perfect.
Fantastic. All right, cool. So yeah, we're Ritu and I have been tasked with brand analytics, right? So we're examining this from a couple different perspectives. I'm taking on market basket analysis and then customer review insights, which is not technically brand analytics, but it kind of gets grouped in there with them anyway. So we figured we'd talk about it today. And like I said, I'm Brent from AMZ Pathfinder, and this is Sellerfest. Here we are, day 3 or 4. Huh? Like I said, work with PPC since 2012. Live in France. AMZ Pathfinder is 24 people. We're all spread across Europe, Asia, and we help lots of brands in North America and EU on Amazon and Walmart. And today, what do you need? So, when you do these kind of presentations, you always try to think about the audience and what kind of skills or background they require in order to make use of what you're talking about. So here's the things that you need in your toolbox to actually get this stuff done today. The first one is enrollment in brand registry. If you're an Amazon 3P seller or maybe even a vendor who has access to a 3P account, you probably have that already, so that's good. Green check mark. Number 2, permissions to see the right areas in Seller Central. This is actually crucial. The reason I highlight this is because as an agency, we often run into situations where we need to remind our clients or the companies we're working with to go into global access permissions or the permissions area and make sure that we can see brand analytics in the brand area and some of the places I'm going to cover. So if you're a brand owner, no problem. You have access to that stuff, not an issue. If you're someone that works on a larger team, you might need to talk to the person who's the primary account holder and make sure that you have the ability to see this stuff by them setting the permissions for you. If you go into Seller Central and you follow the navigational prompts that they give here, because some of these menus are kind of buried, and you don't see it, it's probably because you just don't have permissions. So go get that sorted out. That's the way you're going to be able to see this stuff. The third thing you're going to need is sufficient sales to generate data so you actually have something to look at. That's also quite key. So you probably can't do this in an account that has just a few sales. Aim for those that are higher selling and have enough for us to really chew on there. That's pretty much it. Those are the 3 things you need. Along with that, you just need, some curiosity, I guess. And the best part about these features is that they are free. Amazon provides this data for us. And I think sometimes we take it for granted. But if you are familiar with other platforms like Walmart or Cdiscount is another one, like here in France, they don't have the kind of data that Amazon is giving us here. So there's a part of us all that's frustrated by Amazon sometimes, but a part of us that's also should be a little bit thankful and say, hey, this is pretty cool stuff we get access to. So let's dive into it. The objectives that I have today, since this is really focused on advertising, is learn how to use these two things, MBA and CRI, I'm going to be calling them here and there, and turn it into an effective advertising strategy. There are other things you can get out of this presentation, but I'm not going to dwell too much on that because Ritu needs to take her time to go as well. But yeah, product improvements, marketing optimization, things you can earn from these insights. We're not going to go into things like supply chain changes you can make or product sourcing decisions, but just know that these 2 tools can also be used for more stuff than the 3 or 4 use cases I'm talking about that are related mostly to advertising. So the other thing I'm going to bring up here is that some of these things might seem a bit obvious, but in my experience, working with Amazon ads for years and doing many account audits and having the team look at accounts, us talking about them internally every day, all day, things that are obvious are not actually things that people do. So you might look at one of the things I bring up here and say, well, duh, that's an obvious use case. But what I want you to do is actually walk away and go do it. So go to your account later today, tomorrow, maybe if you've got some free time over the weekend, and follow through on these steps and make use out of it. Because it's one thing to learn something, it's another thing to actually take some action on it and go ahead and commit to using it. So just because something seems obvious doesn't mean that people actually do it. And I want to try to change that. So market basket analysis, this is the first of the 2. Let's go through where can we actually find it? It's kind of hard to get to. So if you're in your Seller Central login, go to the left side there, there's brands, and then you'll hover over that. It'll bring up brand analytics. The brand analytics area has expanded drastically over the last couple of years. There's all kinds of modules in there and things poking out, and Amazon changes the order around and adds new drop-down menus. You're going to want to look for the one that's on the far right there. that says Consumer Behavior Analytics. Click that, and then you're going to get to Market Basket Analysis. We've made it, finally. It's taken a few clicks, but that's where it is. Some people don't even know how to navigate to it because it is kind of hidden. So once you get there, what does it actually look like? Well, it looks like this. It's lots of columns and rows of data, but we're going to go through this slowly here. So basically, you can select a reporting range. By default, it's set to weekly. I would advise using month as well. It's kind of nice to toggle between the two. And Amazon uses like week 30, week 31, week 32, weeks of the year as it goes, which is quite helpful for comparing to your own internal numbers if you're using that when you're doing accounting, for example. And then the next thing you'll see on the left there, products displayed, you can show all products, which is the setting that's by default. You can show only products from your brand, or you can show only products from other brands. And we'll get into why that's useful in a minute here. You can also select an individual, just one brand, or you can search up to 100 ASINs at one time. So there's a lot of different ways to use this information. And what is it actually trying to show us here? So on the far left, I have it blurred out for privacy reasons for clients, but you can see there's product title, and then there's ASINs, and then number of orders. Subsequently, we have 3 different products that were purchase combinations. So it means someone bought this, they also bought it with that. And this is the combination percentage. Higher means that more people bought those 2 things together. And if you have, let's say for the first couple of products here, we have 900 orders or so, 1.36%, 2%, 4%. That's actually a pretty high percentage if you look at that number of orders. And I do recommend keeping it sorted by number of orders on your catalog. It is possible to sort it by combination percentage, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense if it's 100%. If someone's just ordered one product, it's not really valid data. So try to keep it sorted by number of orders. And that's the main crux of market basket analysis. So now that we kind of know what it looks like, what can we actually do with it? What are the primary use cases for this? I've come up with 3 or 4. So the first one here is cross-selling and upselling. So the idea is you're using products in your own catalog that are frequently bought together, and then you're going to try to make advertising campaigns that cross-sell and upsell those to prospective shoppers. So you'll use that filter on the left side here. Just select same brand combination only. That just means show me products that are bought together that are from my own catalog. It's not going to show you any competitors. It's just going to be those inside your catalog. And I do see cross-selling and upselling in your own catalog and competitive selling, which we're going to talk about later, as 2 distinct separate things. So the products displayed filter is like the first one you're going to want to try there. And then look for a product that has a high combination, like this one here. It's a baby carrier sling. It has, almost 500 orders in the time frame I have selected here, which I believe is a month. And you can see that 2% of those are with another one of the slings, or this like bath thing, for putting a baby in a bathtub safely. And so what you would do is start to create campaigns for that. So in sponsored products, we've had the ability to target ASINs for a very long time. And so what I've done is I've just targeted the product that was the primary one that sold about 500 units. And I've gone in and just entered the ASIN for this baby bath support thing I just mentioned. I put that in there. This is a very simple proof of concept, right? The things you'll need to change after this is like hierarchy. Like, do you want this to be in an existing campaign in a new ad group, or do you want to build a whole new campaign for it? That's going to depend on how much budget you want to allocate to it, what kind of visibility you want it to have, what your bid is. Do you want to go aggressive on this, or do you want to take a more moderate approach? You can see the suggested bid here for this is actually quite low at 49 cents US. Usually in the baby category, which we have a lot of experience with, bids are typically higher. But this is a very simple implementation of just using ASIN targeting. Now, like I said, let's back up a couple slides. Just because something is obvious, this might seem pretty obvious, doesn't mean that people actually do it. When we do audits, we so rarely see ASIN targeting. People are still absolutely fixated after all these years on keywords. They don't care about ASINs. But this is a mistake, especially when you have the ability to build an affinity or a link between 2 products in your catalog and start to cross-sell them. The next one here is display targeting. So you can use sponsored display, which is one of the other major ad types that makes up about, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 15% of the spend in a lot of our client accounts. And you can use product targeting. So this is the same idea. You're going to go in there and say, we're going to use an image. You can load a custom image in there. Just use the default one that it gives you. We do suggest using more advanced creative practices these days because sponsored display has so much capability for that now. It's definitely better to create custom images and insert those in there. But let's just say, for the sake of simplicity here, we're going to use products to detail page. Let's load in a default image, and you're going to add some of the products that you see an ability to cross-sell. What we typically find, and actually I'd be interested, Ritu, later on if you guys see this too, is if sponsored display does better with more targets. Amazon usually recommends like add additional targets into the ad group. I agree with that. So in general, we wouldn't limit this to just one product. We would take that primary seller, we would use that month data for MBA, and then we would take a couple products that are in that row that are like cross-selling and similar and put them in there. And then Amazon will decide when it's serving the ads, like who they go to and where. But that's another good way to just get additional ad exposure in different placements across the Amazon ecosystem and on the product detail pages for cross-selling and upselling. So what else does this do? This has some implications. It encourages customers also bought, which is the area you'll see under a product listing. And you want to teach Amazon's algorithm that these two products are linked, right? These two products are similar. That's going to encourage it to show those two things next to each other in more places in the ecosystem. I can't even stand here and tell you all the different places it might appear. I've gotten emails from Amazon that show products that are like linked together or similar. So who knows? Maybe they even sent out blasts like that. Doing this with data is going to ensure that you have a higher chance of success. That's the whole point. We're using data to back this up. And I want to draw a distinction. So cross-selling to me is saying like, hey, you like this, but you also like this. These are two different products from our brand. Upselling is a little bit different, where you're saying, here is our baby wrap. Well, here's a more expensive version of our baby wrap that's more premium. Maybe it has a higher quality material, or it's a bit like stronger, or it lasts longer for years of washing it and using it or something like that. So consider both those angles, both cross-selling and upselling, and name your campaigns and ad groups accordingly and set your expectations accordingly. For example, in our experience, upselling is usually a little bit harder than cross-selling because what you're trying to do is effectively convince someone to spend more money on something that's more premium. So number two, competitor targeting and remarketing. So now we're going to actually shift our focus. We're not going to look at brands that are sold by us or under our control. We're going to actually change that filter and look at competitors. So we're piggybacking on the popularity exposure of other products in the category and basically using that to our advantage. So if someone's done all this work to get ranked on Amazon, well, thank you very much. We're going to jump on board. That's basically what we're doing here. So there's this filter on the left side, products displayed. This time we're going to set it to same brand combination excluded, not only, but excluded. We don't want to see our products. So we're still looking at our product lineup there on the left side. We still have a number of orders. I'm looking at July 2024 in this example. And you can see these, I don't know what that is. Frida Baby Control the Flow Bath Rinse Cup. So yet again, another product related to bathing, rinsing babies, and then several other things from Frida and a couple other brands I recognize actually, Infantino and Leniso. And then we have the combination percentage for those as well. So do these products need to be direct competitors? Not necessarily. Like when I have this baby wrap, for example, I have existing campaigns already running where I'm targeting competitors that we know are like our biggest threat. Like they're in the same price range we are. They have a very similar offer than we do. And we're trying to edge in on their product detail page, follow them around Amazon and steal their sales, right? We're trying to get in front of their potential customers. These other products, the data is telling us that we have a combination percentage that's like 2, 3, 4%, even 1.8 or 2% is fine. That's enough to give us an excuse to do this. But these products are not necessarily competitors. They're complementary, right? So we're going in there and saying, I'd like to show up alongside this, this pacifier or this like bathing accessory for babies. that is all useful and good, because the chances are someone who's buying that stuff may also be interested in our product, and we have the data to back it out. So that's the first element. And I didn't actually put a slide in here to discuss it because it's the same procedure as before. Just go into ASIN targeting inside of sponsored products or a sponsored display, and you can target from there. We typically wouldn't use sponsored brands for this, just those other two types. The thing that's new here, though, is we can do remarketing. So this one's a bit more nuanced. You see what I've done here is I've found that competitor, I think it was called this, and this is great. I put this in here so I would say it on the recording. Boudreaux's Butt Paste. Hilarious name for something. But this is a diaper cream, right? This is yet again a product that's inside of the baby category. What I've done is I've gone into MBA, and I've seen that we have a 2.5% overlap with this particular brand, this particular product. Now, when I've created a sponsored display campaign, which I'm doing here, I've searched for diaper cream. I found the subcategory, and I went refine. And in the refining area, I put in that specific brand. I was able to find it because it's a pretty big seller. It's a well-known brand. And then from there, I can change the look back window and type. So I can say, any person who has viewed this diaper cream in the last 30 days, I want them to see my baby carrier sling. That's pretty compelling, actually, pretty cool. Or I can say purchases last 7 days. So that person is a recent purchaser of this diaper cream. Cool. They should see our baby sling. We love this. This works really well. There's a couple steps you need to go through, though. You need to hit hit the refine button there and drill down by brand. It doesn't always work because maybe that brand has a couple other products, so you can't hit the exact one. But this is something that we, like to try anyway. With advertising, you always got to test. Okay, number 3, bundle building. So this is really straightforward, but you take 2 products from your brand that have an established history of selling together in recent times, let's say, July, looking at July's data, and then create a virtual bundle. So virtual bundles have been around since, I think, 2020 or 2021. I remember they came out some years ago. But basically what it is 2 products from your catalog that are complementary, and you can build a listing for them. You can even make A+ content for it, which I think is fairly new, but you get the full gamut of images, videos, bullet points, description, everything. I mean, it's like building a listing, but it is a bundle. Amazon calls it a virtual bundle because there's no physical component to it. There's no one at the Amazon warehouse like taking your products and like putting them in the same bag. What happens is they order them in the virtual bundle, they get shipped together, and you get them at the same time. But it's a very cool idea, and I love it. And so if we have data in MBA to support the fact that we should combine these 2 things, well, go ahead and do that. Build a listing for it. Put some A+ content on there if you want. You may be able to repurpose large components of your existing listings because let's assume the products are fairly similar. And then you can advertise it with sponsored brands. So we haven't actually talked about sponsored brands much at all so far, but you can't advertise virtual bundles with sponsored products or sponsored display. You can only use sponsored brands as a campaign type. And I don't know that this particular campaign is a bundle, but I just thought to put it here as an example because you could see making a bundle of different kinds of, diaper rash ointment or diaper cream, putting them together and then creating a unique listing like that, and then advertising it with sponsored brands. So there are definitely products in our client portfolio for which we have plenty of sponsored brand campaigns running that are just bundles. So they're not actually really listings in the same way, but they are. Kind of confusing. Another thing that's nice about bundles, you'll see bundles underneath the child selection on listings. This is another one of these baby wraps, but you see here that they have 3 bundles there. It's like 2 different kinds of wraps, maybe different colors, maybe different sizes. You can imagine as a parent, you might want more than one. Let's say the baby throws up on one. Well, okay, swap it out. We got the other one going here, just like that. And so makes sense. Importantly, it also takes up room on the page. There was a time when bundles showed up further down the page, but I'm not sure if that happens anymore. I've noticed them more often on the area up towards the top where you can see it above the fold. So here's the last one for this section, but bundle promotions. Basically, you can make a promotion to an example I have here, save $13 when you buy this baby carrier and this diaper cream together. And you can do that with a promotion. It's not a virtual bundle. it's not technically an official bundle, but you just create a promotion that encourages that behavior and ties those two together. I don't see people do this very often anymore. I don't know why, but I think it's a cool idea. Okay, so section 2 here, moving right along. This one's going to be a bit shorter, so don't worry, Ritu, we got plenty of time for you. Customer review insights. This is the next section. So technically, like I said, this is not actually in brand analytics, but where it is here under growth. So it's kind of a cousin to brand analytics. The growth area has a lot of cool stuff. Specifically, this is in the product opportunity explorer, which is often referred to as like POE. And I think Ritu and I could probably each give an hour-long presentation just on that area. I'm focused on one particular module inside of this area, which is Product Opportunity Explorer. So once you get there, you're presented with this screen. So do you want to go look at opportunities for product expansion by category, or do you want to search by ASIN or keyword? Up to you. Most people, I think, probably go for option 2, but you are presented with like a buffet of products from your catalog just underneath, and you can like click and select those too. In this circumstance, baby wraps carrier, very related to what we were talking about before. And I bring this up and it gives us this huge screen with all this information, but we're only really focused on the customer review insights area there. It's the one between purchase drivers and returns, the ones that are marked new and new. And once you click on that, basically click here, as I said, jackpot, there you go. Then you get this, customer review insights. And there are 2 elements to customer review insights. There's one for the whole like niche or customer need. I think Amazon sometimes calls it in the documentation. So basically people are looking on this keyword, and this is the neighborhood of products and keywords that are surrounding it, right? One of them is the positive and negative reviews for the whole niche. And the other one is positive and negative for individual products, including your own. And one thing that is actually not obvious, because Amazon needs to take a course in UI design, is that you can actually scroll down on the right side. So I've seen some people use this on videos, or people on my team even, and they don't realize there's a scroll bar on the right side. So yeah, just hover your mouse over that, it'll appear, and then you can scroll down. I made sure to take a screenshot when it was appearing here, because there's actually lots of topics and subtopics under here, and you can just keep scrolling. There's a lot of information if the niche is a well trafficked one, let's say. Lots of people are looking at these products. This is the parent ASIN focus. So this looks a little bit different. This is going to actually have mentions for this like particular product. I've drilled it on this one from a brand called Boba. And then we have the children with the most mentions, the child with the least mentions, and then the review snippets. And yet again, we got positive and negative. It gives us both sides. If you actually read the reviews that it collects, you can tell this is done with some kind of AI or automation. And sometimes the negative ones aren't really negative and the positive aren't really positive. So you still have to use your discretion and read carefully. But either way, you're learning something by going in here and seeing it. And this is a much, much faster way to do this than going through the reviews yourself or exporting them in Excel and like trying to sort through them or something. There are third-party tools that do this, of course, but this is free. This is inside Amazon. Anyone can use it at the drop of a hat. Oh, and this is an area that I don't find as useful, but is below. Which topics have an impact on star rating, and then here are like trends. Usually, the trends line is too kind of hectic to really draw much conclusion from it. It's not super useful for advertising, but we are going to talk about what we can do with advertising. So, our number one use case for us at Pathfinder, for sure, is helping us write copy. Everyone's had a situation where you've been setting up a new campaign, and both sponsored brands and sponsored display have the ability to write extensive amounts of copy and editorialize now, in addition to all the great creative formats they have. But we all had those moments where it's like the blank Excel document or like the blank Word document. And you're like, I don't know what to write. What do I put in this headline? Well, this really shortcuts this. So go through here and take what customers have highlighted as the best parts of your product and use it to convince new shoppers to buy your product. So what are people who like your product saying about how great it is? Well, just take their words and use it to help you write some copy. These people are probably in there highlighting your key benefits, your features. They're clearing up questions that they might have had or new potential buyers might have, and like alleviating concerns, let's say. And then you can also go and see what's getting your competitors in trouble, which we'll get into, what people don't like about their products. So let's use the positives, that is to say the positive reviews, to help you write some copy. Here's an example that I just pulled out of the ones we were looking at there. Baby wraps that are positive, it mentions soft fabric, yet strong and supportive, and it's breathable. Okay, great. That sounds good in summer. We like breathable fabric. So the example headlines I wrote here, just real quick: soft, breathable fabric, perfect for the summer. Or keep baby cool and snug with our wrap. So basic headlines there, but I came up with those in like 30 seconds, just understanding the positive reviews and kind of reading through them and getting a feeling of what the gestalt is for the product. Then when people actually arrive at the product listing, what they've seen in the headline that you just wrote, because you have gone through and read the reviews, is what they will see in the reviews. So it kind of mirrors it, right? There's this like reciprocity angle to it there where they're seeing it multiple times and it's being reinforced. Now, the other way to take this is to look at the negatives. So go on the competitor listings or go to the negative area for the whole niche or submarket and look at that, and then take those and use them. So some of the negative reviews for the baby wrap competitors I looked at: lack of back support. The product is larger than expected, so people ordered it and didn't fit. And it was hard to follow the instructions for wrapping it because I guess, I don't know, maybe it's like Tetris trying to wrap it around. So the examples I came up with that is designed with back support and comfort in mind. So we're alleviating that concern that people might have reading it, and easy to take on or off and sized just right. So these are very straightforward, kind of like benefit centered headlines, but we only still have, I think, 50 characters inside of sponsored brands and sponsored display, which is what I wrote these with in mind. So came up with some headlines really quickly. And as any advertising person might tell you, the more headlines you have, the more you can test between different headlines and creative and see which one is going to resonate best with your market. That's kind of the name of the game still with advertising, and probably will be going forward. One of the last things here: let reviews inspire you creatively. We've not done this too much recently, but I know we have clients that do this. They'll look at the reviews and they'll see what people are saying positively, and they will use that as like a form of art direction. So let's say they have a professional photo shoot, like you can see here, they have the mom and the baby in the front of the carrier, and she's pouring, I don't know, some kind of liquid, maybe like a tea or something, right? So she has her hands free to be able to do that. And actually the copy there lines up with that. Free your hands and carry your baby easily. Okay, not bad. Pretty good. And we have this photo because that was something that was maybe discovered in a review from this module, or it was just like an obvious kind of feature benefit. But there might be things you can uncover in there that you hadn't thought of, and will help you with art direction, creating images with AI, even, I don't know, whatever people do these days. Photoshop, there's many ways to get good creative. Okay, so one of the last ones here: product content enhancement. Reading deeply into the customer reviews and concerns is a way for us to understand what we can do to maximize conversions. Usually that just means improving the descriptions, improving the FAQs, which I know on some listings have kind of been replaced by Rufus these days, the AI. Ask Rita for more details if you need information on that. And the move here is to emphasize the reviews and aspects that are the most positive and give you really good attention, and to diffuse the problems that come up that you see as problematic. So if you have a couple reviews that are addressing like it's hard to get the wrap on and off, like we just talked about there a couple slides ago, maybe you can say in the bullet points, like, comes with a very clear instruction manual that links to a YouTube video from 2 angles that shows you how to do it, or how to have your partner help you with it, or do it yourself, or something like that. And then people feel a little bit more set at ease. Maybe they see a review on the listing that still says, oh, it's hard to get on and off. But okay, now we've alleviated that concern. We've kind of diffused that worry. At the end of the day, I consider this something that influences advertising, because even a 0.5 improvement on your conversion rate is going to lead to much better advertising outcomes. If I could wave a magic wand and make the conversion rate of all our clients' listings increase by 0.5, I would absolutely do it. Even a percentage that seems so small like that, over time adds up to a lot of saved ad dollars and a lot of increased return. And the last one we have here: mine for keywords. So yet again, seems obvious, right? But people don't actually do it. If you go through all the reviews, good and bad, mostly the positive ones, and you look for terms and phrases that are repeated a lot by people, those are probably the same terms that shoppers are maybe using to search and may just have in mind, right? So we already talked about writing headlines to kind of resonate with what people are thinking and what they're leaving reviews on. But what if you just put those in as search terms and keywords themselves? So something to try out. My suggestion is look at your active keywords and see where you have some overlap. If you cross-reference them against each other, you'll probably see some already in there. That's good. For the ones that aren't, yeah, go ahead and add them in there and try different ad groups or campaigns, allocate some budget for that and give it a shot. We do this sometimes and it's fun. Cool. So that's all from me. Thanks very much for your attention. You can scan that and find me on LinkedIn or just go to brent.bike. Yes, .bike is ATLD, just like .com. So you can try either of those things.
Great. Thank you very much, Brent. So giving a few moments for people to make a photo of the QR code, which just disappeared.
Oh, sorry.
Scroll back. Don't worry. They can
okay.
scroll back. All right. So thank you very much, Brent. You can rest for a while, for a few minutes, and then we will bring Ritu and your presentation. So Ritu, please share your screen.
Yes. Okay. I'm ready. 1 second. Yeah, that was great, Brent. Really great presentation. Let's see. I learned a thing or two that was really good. Is my screen up?
Yes, we can see your screen. Yeah, perfect.
All right. Okay. Yep. All good?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Right. So, we're kind of teaming up on this topic of brand analytics. Brent and I, we spent some time trying to, dissect this beast of information that Amazon provides us. And we decided that we'll focus on, different areas that we're passionate about. And this was my area, and I'm really passionate about search query performance and how to use the data that's, hidden in there. So let me jump in. For those of you who were late, just a quick intro to myself. So I started my e-commerce journey on Etsy in 2010. I'm an engineer with a focus on data science. I run PPC Ninja, which is an ad tech enabled advertising agency. And I've spoken at a lot of events, including Amazon Accelerate, Prosper Show, BTSS, and so on. So recently I have launched an AI for e-commerce newsletter. So if you're interested, you can scan that QR code and get in. All right, let's get to the good stuff. So first of all, oh, there's a typo. SQP, not SWP. Sorry about that. So what is the search query performance report? This is the top 1,000 search queries that led people to your brand. It is also the top 100 search queries that led customers to your ASIN, right? So for brand and for ASINs, you have a different count of search queries that Amazon has ranked in some order. Nobody really knows what that order is. When they say rank 1, it doesn't mean that it is first position on your search results page. It just means that it is the most prominent search query that shows up when people are searching for your product and purchasing from you. So it's a combination of how often they purchase, maybe the order value, and so on. So they will give you these 1,000 or 100 search queries, and then you can do good stuff with it because they actually split your data across the 4 stages of the funnel. So there's the impressions stage, the clicks, the cart ads, and the purchase stage. So those are the 4 through which a shopper goes through, and they actually give you data on, what was the contribution of your impression share versus the total market. Same thing for clicks, same thing for carts. So you can do a lot of analysis of this. A lot of people get stuck because they look at the data and they say, oh, wow, that's a lot of data. But then they don't know how to analyze it beyond that. Or most importantly, they don't know how to take action on this. So my focus and my goal today would be to kind of try and give you those action items at the end. So bear with me. This is going to be data intensive. So just be prepared to kind of get into a data mindset here. So the one downside of the search query performance report that I'm aware of is that it only gives you 24-hour attribution, which means that if someone clicked on or they typed a word and then they searched for it, you only have 24 hours of data from the start of that search query till they actually made a purchase or had a click to kind of show up in that report. Anything that happens afterwards, like how many purchases they made after a week or whatever, does not get captured. So there's a little bit of data missing there, but that's okay. The other thing to say is that it only includes organic and some sponsored product results that show up in the search results page. It does not include any data that's coming from product pages. That's why you will see that your numbers won't add up. So if you try and say, all of my conversions through ads and organic should add up to what's showing up here, it's not going to add up, right? So both of these factors are the reason for the discrepancy in a sense. Okay, so why do we think that this is a game changer? Because, of course, it's been like a year and a half since search query performance came up. But before this, people used to actually buy this kind of data on the black market, literally for, thousands and thousands of dollars. And then Amazon just started giving it to us, which is kind of crazy that we have so much data and it's free. And there's no scraping involved here. It's coming straight from the source, and that makes it really, really valuable, right? You also get an idea of your top 10 competitors for each search term. So, I'll show you later on, but when you drill down from your ASIN view into a search term, you actually get the top 10 competitors and all of their data as well. So if you have any keywords that you want to rank for or are going after, it might be worth checking what competitors you have there and what their click-through rates are and their conversions and things like that before you kind of commit to that keyword as the one that you want to go after. Now, there are other tools out there. There's so many good tools, including Helium 10, Data Dive, Jungle Scout, etc., that give you like your competitors and so on. But just remember that's scraped data. It's always going to have some percentage of inaccuracy built in, whereas this is real data coming straight from Amazon. And then there's some other factors like the impact of other factors on sales like shipping days and competitor pricing, etc., that you can also glean from the SQP data. So I really like all of the data they give, and I really want to see how we can put it to use. Okay, so where is this located? This will be under Search Analytics, and then you will go into Search Query Performance. They give you data for multiple granular, time periods. So like weekly data, monthly data, quarterly data. I like to use monthly because weekly is too noisy because keywords come and go from the weekly list. Whereas monthly is a little bit more stable and quarterly seems to be a little bit too much. So I just stick with monthly for now. They also give you a bunch of custom columns that are not visible in the view itself, but you can actually go and customize it and check them off so that they can start showing up in your list. For example, here, these are the default ones that are checked off, but you can also do this, which is really, really cool. Most people don't know about it. You can actually find out the price for the average selling price of products that are associated with a particular search term, which is really cool because let's say your price is way higher than the price median, then you might never convert easily, and so pushing that keyword might actually mean it's going to be unprofitable. So there's things like that that you can determine from the extra columns that are hidden behind. Now you can download this data also. For a long time, they didn't allow you to download, but now they do. And generally, they have a simple view, comprehensive view. There's a few others. They also give you choice badge information, etc. So, I generally do the comprehensive view because it gives you, a lot more columns than what's visible. All right, so let's assume that we have downloaded a month's worth of data from the search query performance for one of your ASINs. Now it's time to kind of start using this data. So how do you use it? Like, what do you look for? What do you discard? What kind of focus areas? Then some people have more than one ASIN, right? They might have like a whole catalog with let's say 30 or 40 ASINs or even more. And some of these ASINs share keywords, right? So you can also kind of download a bunch of these ASIN level SQP reports and then stitch them together and then try to figure out, is this keyword good for this ASIN or that ASIN or the other one? You can do that kind of cross analysis across SQP reports. Another dimension to look at is you can do month-over-month analysis. So for example, you download the reports for last month, the previous month, 4 months before, a whole year, and then you can draw graphs across those different time periods and see how things are trending. Like, how did your purchases go up and down for a particular keyword over time? Now, if you are to do all of this, it's very hard to do it just by looking at the snapshot that's visible in the UI. So generally what we like to do is we like to convert those snapshots into time series, right? That's the basic step you need to do in order to start doing data analysis, which is of some quality. Otherwise, you're just going to look at it and you'll be like, oh, overwhelmed, and you probably won't take any action, right? So to do it methodically, you have to understand that snapshots have limited value because they don't tell you whether you're improving or you're losing ground or you're remaining flat, right? So there's all of that comes out when you're in a time series thing. Now, how do you convert a flat snapshot into a time series? The simplest way is to add a time column, and then you just stitch all of those snapshots together, and that makes you a time series, and then you can plot it like this across any parameter that you choose, right? Thankfully, the SQP downloaded reports already have a date column in it, which is great. So I think Amazon must have thought ahead here, because most of their reports don't have a date column, and you have to add it in, which means that, let's say if you're doing a business report, for example, it's not going to tell you this is the business report for this date or this period. They will simply put that date information in the file name, which is useless actually, because you're actually going to use the data inside, right? So this is already done for you in the SQP download. So then you just have to append all of these different downloads that you have, and then you can create time series and do all kinds of fun analysis. Now, if any of you are interested in a faster way of doing the downloads and then analysis, let me know at the end. I'll give you my contact information so that we can talk about that. But basically, there are tools and processes that have already been created and easy to use and ready to go. So just keep that in mind if you need that help. All right. Now we're going to talk about some use cases, right? How do you use this information? So first use case is calculating your revenue per search term, right? So what you see here is a bunch of search terms, right? And then because I have stitched my data together across many months, so as you can see here, this is October, November, and so on. This goes on for like 8 or 9 months. I have basically multiplied the average price. I was showing you earlier, there's a price column. You can multiply that average price or your own price by the purchase quantity, and then you get a dollar amount, right? And then that combination can be tracked over time. You can actually see how valuable a search term is for you in dollar terms, and you can see the trend over time. So then you can actually be sensitized to which months bring you the best ROI on focusing on that particular search query versus others. Just to give you some examples here, lower value searches, like for example this one, you can see that this one is only generating $1,000 in this month. but in December it generated 3 times the amount. So there's some amount of like seasonality factor which kind of gives the dollar a boost. Here also you can see search query number 1, 23K in October and 51K in December. So all of this data is there. You just have to pull it up and do some calculations, and then you can do this kind of fun analysis and find out which search terms are more valuable than others. So that's the first use case. Second one, you can build an ASIN versus keyword map. I'm saying keyword, but I really mean search term, right? Keyword in the sense that I'm going to actually use this as a keyword in my advertising. But what's the situation where this kind of analysis is possible? It's the situation where you have multiple products sharing a keyword, and you want to see how much of that keyword is leading to sales of this product versus another product. So the best way of doing that is through this visual Sankey chart, which I've created in Looker Studio, and it's part of our SQP analyzer. You can basically see search terms here and ASINs here. And you can see that this search term gave kind of brought in sales, about this many sales for this ASINs. The thickness of the band here is the amount of sales. And the second one, it brought in this, and then there's a few others. So visually, you can actually see how your search terms are leading to sales of your particular ASINs, and then that gives you an idea of like which ASINs to push certain keywords with and which ones to either don't bother or do something to strengthen that, etc. So a visual map of ASINs and keywords is what you can do. Third use case is you can actually verify search volume trends for certain keywords over time. Where is this important? This becomes important when, let's say, certain keywords lose importance because of the ordering of the autocompletes. So there was a time, I think last year this happened, where Amazon changed the order of autocomplete queries that populate in their dropdown, their search dropdown. And like overnight, there was many accounts that lost their best keywords because they're no longer showing up in that drop-down list. So this is another way of looking at search volume data that comes from these search queries, and you can plot them over time like I have, and you can see whether search volume itself is going up or down for important keywords that are important to you, right? So again, this is a little bit advanced. It's probably great for someone who's really into data, who really wants to go that last mile, right? Not just doing basic kind of use of the data. Then the next use case is analyzing your competitors. I mentioned earlier that every single search term, when you click through, you can actually analyze your competitors' information. So it gives you their product title, ASIN, the brand, their price median. So you can easily eyeball this and say, oh, they're twice as much as me or whatever. You can actually see that here. You can see their ASIN impression share, their clicks, their click share, etc., and see who the leaders are. So like I can immediately see this guy here with a 26% click share is one to watch. So this can be done if you want to do a deeper analysis of your competitors through the search terms that matter to you. All right, next use case is basically evaluating the funnel performance, because your data is presented to you in the form of a funnel. So you have impressions data, you have clicks data, add to cart data, and purchase data. So what we've done is we've actually put this together into an SQP analyzer, which is a Looker Studio report. And I'm actually going to show it to you, so bear with me. It's a little hard to see right now, but it's got most of the important columns that we've extracted from the search query performance report. Here, an important one we've added is average dollar amount, and this is really important because, like I was saying earlier, if the average price of products that are selling for a keyword is much lower than yours, and if you're trying to push it, you're going to see a very poor conversion rate on your ads, right? So make sure that you are cognizant of your price point and try to match only those keywords that are bringing in sales of products that are similarly priced. So that's one use case, and I will be actually showing you the actual analyzer. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about the strength of the funnel, because here we're trying to talk about the funnel performance, right? So let's talk about the strength of each keyword and how it goes through this funnel, right? So here is one type of funnel, right, where you have the impression share is a large percentage, right? And then click share is a smaller percentage of that. And then the ad cards is an even smaller. And then the purchase share is even smaller, right? So this is one kind of funnel that goes this way. And here's another kind of funnel that goes the other way, which means that you have a particular impression share which starts off at whatever, but then your click share is greater than that, right? And then your add to cart share is greater than the previous funnel phase, and then your purchase share is even higher than the cart ads and the others. So just a quick question in your mind: which of these funnels do you think is a strong funnel? Right? I'm just throwing it out there. Think about it. And I'm going to give you the answer here, because we're not talking about interacting right now. But weak search term, this one, and strong search term, because no matter what impressions you fed it, each successive stage of the funnel has taken up more and more share of the previous stage, and therefore you know that this is a strong search term for you, right? And so this strength metric is calculated like this, and it's basically your purchase share divided by your impression share. We're just taking the last stage and the first stage and just dividing them, right? And if this is greater than 1, we know that we have a growing funnel, which means it's going from small to large. And that generally means that you have strength and you're basically taking up more room and you can basically take more of from the market, because you have a very good and strong keyword that works for you. So with this formula, I am going to actually switch to the analyzer tool and show you what it looks like, right? Okay, so I just showed you this earlier. This is the matching of the search term to the ASIN. It's live. You can see how this shows the width being 1.08 thousand purchases for the search term for this ASIN. And in this case, it is 756 for this ASIN, right? So there, right there, you can see the visual comparison of it. Then we go down to this section, and in this section we have search query, we have the ASIN, and this is the average price that I was showing, impression share, click share, etc. And then this last column, which we've added based on the formula I just showed you, and this is strength, right? So I'm going to sort this descending to find my best keywords, right? Because the higher the strength, the more useful that keyword is for me, because I know that I have a growing funnel, right? Now, here I've added a filter where I don't want data insufficiency. I only want to pick up those search terms for further push if there's data sufficiency. So I might even go and say this is greater than 3. Let's do 3 just for fun. So anything that had more than 3 units sold in the time period that I picked above and had a very high, like a high strength, you can see how these look like long tail keywords already. I've obfuscated it, but I mean, this is real data. but you can see that the higher strength words are generally long tail keywords. And if you want data sufficiency, you just play with this and then you can get to the best keywords that you should then go after, right? Now there's more sections down below, but maybe I'll just show you one. This section is a month-over-month analysis of the various factors. So I can maybe look at the month-over-month analysis of just purchases. Let me just get rid of everything else and see for purchases, how did my purchases go month over month for a particular ASIN. So I can see here in August 227 and in April 410. So definitely looks like an improvement happened here and so on. So these are some of the different things you can do. Now remember, what is the source of this this analysis? It is just those SQP reports that we can download from Amazon, monthly reports that you can download. But the magic to this whole thing is you need to stitch them together, and basically that's what has fed into this Looker Studio report. Okay, so last section here, I wanted to talk about actions, because at the end of the day, it's the actions that will get you some, something out of this whole exercise. So the actions that we recommend is, first of all, find your high strength terms from SQP reports using the strength metric, and you can download that. It's very easy to download things from here. You simply go here and say export, and that becomes, your list, right? So download that report, and then you want to create, if you haven't already, then you want to create broad match modifier keywords with those with the things that you downloaded. Some people like to create exact match. We've started moving away from exact match because it's not functioning as desired. It's not exact match anymore, and we find that BMMs do much better because they give you reach. And with the right negations from the get-go, they can actually be a substitute for exact match, because they're actually making sure that those words are present in your searches, right? And then then you want to proactively negate irrelevant terms, add it to some sort of keyword rank tracking tool, and then watch your keyword ranking go up, because that's the goal. You want to see these are the keywords that Amazon has blessed you with, because it shows up in the search query performance report as the top 100. You've picked the best ones out of that because the funnel is showing that this is a good funnel, and then you're creating specific attention through specific single keyword campaigns, and you're pushing them because you have high confidence in everything else that you have done so far. And now, you should be able to see improved keyword ranking on those words. So that's basically the formula. That's how we use SQP reporting for doing all kinds of new campaign launches and stuff like that. If you want to learn more about the SQP analyzer, that's the QR code, and you can reach out to me, and I'm happy to help there.
Cool. Thank you very much. AA Wizardy was commenting that dashboard is a real game changer, and he means that probably tech guys need to be involved, he assumes. Is it correct that you need some tech knowledge to
No,
create a dashboard?
so the dashboard that we've created is ready for use, and it's it definitely required basic tech knowledge, and we basically put all of the SQP reports into BigQuery, and then the Looker Studio template is simply reading from the BigQuery, and that's how it was created. But if someone wants to use that workflow, all you need to do is figure out which ASINs you want to match, and then everything else is pretty much automated after that.
Great, thank you. Let's bring Brent back to the stage. Hello, Brent. So we will soon go to the questions and answers, but before that, I wanted to mention that we have also a VIP package prepared for our viewers. VIP package is a additional investment, a small investment, but you get 40 extra videos, which are different walkthroughs, deep dives, template shares, additional strategies experts use with clients or in their own businesses which work for them. And you will find the link below in the description for this package, SellerFest online/VIP. And Ritu, could you share with us what you recorded for the VIP session?
Yes. Yes. So basically, I spoke about Cosmo and Rufus, and how we are going to enter this stage of or phase of product discoverability, which is very different from anything we've done so far, which means keywords are going to be replaced by more important concepts. And so my video is about that. It's a short 25-minute video that I recorded for this presentation.
Thank you very much. And Brent, can you share what you shared with us?
Yeah, sure. I did something totally out of my comfort zone, which is talk about the SKU economics report. And that is a financial report inside of Amazon Seller Central that's come about, I think, earlier this year. And it basically rolls up and combines a bunch of, let's call it like charges and fees and storage, everything inside Amazon. And when you combine that with some advertising costs, which are built into it partially, and then some you have to add in yourself, and one other report from Amazon, you can get a very accurate picture of your profit at the end of the day. So the objective there was to create something that anyone watching the video can use, because we do have a downloadable that you can get that we've worked on to 4 or 5 versions now to get it perfect. But the idea is you download 3 reports from Amazon, you put in some of your own COGS and your cost of goods sold, and then it spits out your profitability overall. And the objective there is to understand, inclusive of advertising as much as we possibly can, where you're making money, where you're losing money. And that's how you can start to adjust your advertising campaigns based on that information. So something unusual for me, but it was a fun challenge.
Great. Thank you very much. And yeah, everyone who will decide to access this package with additional investment, you will find all the videos here in the list in the members area. And yeah, I hope it will help.
I bought it, Augustus.
No, it's actually we send you a refund because you're a speaker, so we sent already you access and then you bought it. So you don't.
Well, I wanted it, so I bought it. So I don't know. I don't think too hard about it.
But you didn't see our email. We immediately refunded. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes. So let's do some questions. We have a few questions from the audience. So Arun is asking, given that percentages, the numbers are decimals, what's the threshold above which you will go for product targeting?
I think that was in reference to mine, because it was at 7:15 my local time here. Yeah. Arun, I'm actually not too sure what I was talking about at that time. Maybe it was what percentage of the combination purchase it is. Really what I'm looking at when I do that is the number of orders. So if there's a huge number of orders, even if the percentage is small, that means there are a lot of purchases made together. So if it's 1.5% and there's 900 orders, well, that's enough for me to do it. And really, there's no precise number. I'm not trying to use this as a rule to say do or don't do this. The purpose of that is to give you an indicator using real data from Amazon, what direction you need to take. Ritu mentioned something, what'd you call it, Ritu? Like time framing, time slicing, or something like that?
Time series. Yeah, time series reporting.
Yeah, see, you're an engineer, I can tell. Time series to figure out this. So my suggestion is maybe go to different months in the overlap report there, and see across a couple of months, do you see repeat purchases of your SKU and then this competitor SKU, or your SKU and one of the other SKUs? You see it in 3 different months in a row. Well, that's a pretty good indicator. It's probably one of the other things that I should have mentioned during the discussion, but is a good way to do that.
Great, thank you. Another question we have for Ritu: is SQR search query report available via API?
No, it's not available. Like Amazon has been talking about it for a long time, but it hasn't come through yet. I wish it does soon, because otherwise we wouldn't need to download all this stuff if there was an API. So yeah. Hi, by the way. Nice to see you.
Hi. And Domantas is asking about the dashboard which you showed. Do you have to have a lot of skills to do it? But you can get it from Ritu's link, right?
Yeah, so I mean, yes, what we're offering is definitely a paid service. It's not free because we've invested a lot of time and effort into it. But if you really want to do it the manual way, I would say the manual way would be to just use any kind of, maybe an Excel or whatever, just append your documents together, removing the header row, because the time series column is already there. It's just the header row, when you append it, that will come in the way, and then you can do the analysis using Excel. Nowadays, people use ChatGPT to figure out stuff. So if you wanted to do it the low budget way, you can do it that way. But if you want a little bit more, of the analytical stuff that we're doing, then reach out to me, and I'll be happy to show you our service. Yeah.
Right, and Arun is asking, what's broad match modifier?
Yeah, broad match modifier is a type of broad match, and it requires a plus sign to be placed in front of each of the parts of your keyword. So let's say if you have running shoes women, then you will put plus running space plus shoe plus space plus women, and that would be a broad match modifier. It basically ensures that the buyer search query has each of those three words present in any order. It doesn't matter. So that's why I feel like that's a much better version of exact match than exact match itself.
Okay, question for Brent. What tools to use to quickly analyze customer reviews? Do you have any ideas?
Oh, yes. If you want to use a paid tool, there's one called VOC. I think it's voice of the customer, voice of the consumer. It's called Shulex VOC. This is probably the most famous like paid one. And that is an AI tool that does many things now. It started as a Chrome extension, but now I believe that it is a whole suite of things. It's not just that anymore. That tool has made a big splash in the industry like the past, 6 months or something. So that's a good one to check out. But yeah, I mean, the whole point of the one I showed off is that Amazon's doing it for you, and they're trying to put it in an easy to digest place. Even in Amazon's documentation, if you go and you look at it, they say, oh, this is a tool that's designed to help you save time. So you basically don't sit in front of your computer and scratch your head and like read through 500 reviews. It's meant to summarize it for you. So they're trying to give you a free way to do that. But Shulex is another one that I would go to. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, and we recently, actually one of the last videos in our YouTube channel are about Shulex, so you can find the link in the description as well. We'll put and in our channel, and also now in the live chat comments I also put the link. All right, we have question for Rito, I think. You given any thought to passing SQP and PPC data to a LLM, which is AI language, and then asking for actionable tips to optimize ad campaigns based on your data?
Yeah, so right from the beginning, I've been trying very hard to make that work. But I'm giving you the big summary, which is that the LLM doesn't directly have the ability to take large volumes of data and give you actionable insights across all of them in a structured manner yet. But the LLM is really, really good in terms of generating code or any kind of formulas, if you want, for Google Sheets, which then will be used on your data to give you an analysis, which is likely to be more accurate and actionable. So what happens generally with LLMs is that they will at some point start to hallucinate. If you have like a 2x2 spreadsheet with, let's say, 50 columns and 100 rows, it's going to lose the plot. It'll first try to do some sort of prioritization of actions, and it's going to give you some sort of suggestions that are high level, but it's not always the same. Like if you run the same query over and over again, you'll probably start getting different results. And in order to prevent that from happening, what we've started doing is we've started breaking that problem down into smaller chunks and saying, hey, give me code for this. So give me code that will analyze this data to give me some sort of anomaly detection maybe, or optimization ideas, etc. But directly, I'm a very active user of ChatGPT and other LLMs, but I have not seen the quality that I need that's reliable that I can quickly take action on yet.
All right, we're now starting to get questions about AI. LLM is not for data analysis, but the idea is great. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, it's going in that direction, but we're only at the start of it. No one can say like 6 months down the line, a year down the line, that it'll get really, really good at it. But so far, LLMs are great for translating human words into all kinds of things, including code. I just love the ability for creating code for AppScript or code for SQL or code for even just within Google Sheets, etc., which then can be used for analyzing data.
So thank you very much for great session. We will finish this video with a short introduction of both our guests. So maybe Ritu, you can tell us one more time how you help Amazon sellers. I will bring your website.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we have, we're an agency, we're an Amazon advertising agency, and we have our own internal software. And we help 7, 8, and 9-figure sellers to scale on Amazon and make money. We do Amazon, we do DSP, Google Ads, and Walmart ads. Generally, if you are selling, at least like $10,000 a month in ad sales, we'll be a good fit for managing your account and give you, results based on your goals. If not, you can opt for the self-service option and just use our software instead. So that's that. And then in addition, we do a lot of other stuff like AI based creatives. We've just started a new service with AI-based creative, as well as like Rufus enablement, which means basically that your images and so on will be optimized for Rufus. And this is an evolving phase, so it's going to be interesting how that turns out. So yeah, back to you.
And actually, we had a question from a beginner. Evelyn says she's a beginner seller. And is it better to wait than investing in Ninja services? Because it's quite expensive. So I think this is what you said, like at the beginning, maybe it's not useful.
So yeah, we start at $199 a month. So yeah, I mean, you'll have to evaluate whether it's a good replacement for your time or not. So, but yeah, it does PPC optimization, and it doesn't help with campaign creation, but we have extra tools like within the software that allow you to do campaign creation in bulk and stuff like that. Definitely check out our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about what the software does.
The YouTube channel is called PPC Ninja, right? I guess.
Yeah, I can put the link in.
All right, and yeah, we'll keep the link in the description also. And Brent, and what do you do daily with AMZ Pathfinder?
Yeah, a lot of the same things Ritu mentioned. I mean, there's a lot of Amazon service agencies out there. We do advertising in all the major marketplaces with the exception of Japan, which I know, Ritu, you have a lot of speciality in. Team's mostly European, so we have a lot of expertise in different European languages, French, German, Italian. We all have native speakers for those. So we work with a lot of brands that are North American based and then are selling into the European market, and we're able to manage those ads with native speakers, which is a small advantage. We also do Google to Amazon. We do Walmart. We do DSP, which we've had a seat for many, many years at this point. Yeah, and we're pretty much a Amazon services and related agency. The big thing we're pushing on for the remainder of this year is actually content services. So we've revamped and hired around content, and we're doing more and more listing optimization. We've done storefronts for 2 or 3 years now, so that's kind of old hat. But yeah, we're doing more listing optimization. We're turning into more of like a CRO company, I would say. So conversion rate optimization, trying to figure out how to eke that extra 0.5, 1% out of client listings, and then that makes our advertising all that much more effective. So we're hyper focused on that at the moment, and happy to talk to anyone about that.
All right, thank you very much. And I see a wizardy says, I met Ritu in Prague. Prague is the conference Europe, not Europe, but Orange Click is organizing. It's happening every year in March. And yeah, he says, I met Ritu in Prague, had a chance to talk about AI and PPC Ninja. They're very good at what they are doing, especially in terms of combining AI and e-commerce. So yeah.
Thank you
it
so
was
much,
fun.
Bharat. Nice to see your face there. We spoke. I mean, he spoke to me in Turkish. He did a little bit of the language for me. It's kind of cute. Thank you so much. I remember you. Good luck.
And yeah, if you want to visit the European Cellular Conference website, go to eusacon.com. All right. Thank you very much, Ritu, Brent. It was nice to have you here again.
Pleasure.
And see you next time.
Thank you so much.
All right, see y'all.
Bye-bye. Sorry. Bye-bye. And now I would like to invite you to watch other video where you will learn about most important Amazon PPC metrics to follow in order to optimize your PPC campaigns by using the data, the right data. So check this out.